Welcome to this week's video, guys. I have a piece of apple here that came from a tree in my yard that had issues and had to be taken down. About every piece of this apple that I have turned full of wormholes, so I don't expect this one to be any different. I do see it on the bottom here, and I will see how deep they go, if I have any further on the inside, which, you know, you think, oh no, I don't see any on the edges, but somehow that one right there probably is all the way in there somewhere. I have some cracks. There's a little evidence of a worm. He probably crawled all over the middle of this piece. So we are going to turn this up and see if we can make some apple leather. Okay, not real apple leather, but I'm going to see if I can combine some leather from a belt today with this bowl. You know, I just can't be happy with just turning a regular bowl, so we're going to do something like that. So I haven't decided yet, this is the top or this is the top or what. I am concerned because I do have a pretty good bark inclusion here and probably some rotten wood to boot with it. And apple tends to be a little on the soft side, or at least this one has been. Everything I've turned with it, I'm not real sure what on earth that is. So I don't know how far up in here this is going to be. It could come out somewhere up here. I don't see evidence of that, but it's deep enough that if I put this as the bottom, then I got to bring it in quite a ways. But if I try to leave this as the top, then I have to center just right to make this my rim, and I don't know if I'm that good yet. Don't know if I can do the measuring. Also, we've got some cracks. Ooh, Lord have mercy. Let's see what happens if I pop that guy up here, because I know it'll just come off eventually. I think it's part of that bark inclusion that I had here. Let me get a screwdriver, because I would prefer to know kind of what's underneath here. I know these are all a bunch of wormholes, and then of course there is a knot or a branch that was gonna grow somewhere in that. Don't want to break get my old handy dandy old screwdriver. Yeah, see, bark, bark, bark. Just want to get an idea of how far in she goes. She's probably going to go all the way over to at least that. Probably all kinds of little spider nests in here, or was. So let me give it some thinks, and I will bring you back whenever I got her mounted on the lathe, whether it's between centers or with the face plate, or I don't know if I'm going to go with the worm screw. Me and worm screws don't get along very well. So I'll bring you guys back in a little bit. By the way, thanks for stopping by. Alright, so of course I got it between centers. I just couldn't decide. This is going to be my bottom. We're going to start by knocking the edges off and just see what I got when I get a little further into this, before I make any definite decisions on shape and figure out what's going on with this bark inclusion, on what I want to do about that situation. And I'm going to stop ever so often and tighten this up, just because it is a softer wood, and yeah, I don't want her flinging off at you guys or me. Alright, let's go. I'll get geared up and we'll start turning. Alright, so I ain't gonna chase away these wormholes. It just ain't happening. I'm almost rid of that bark inclusion, but I think it goes all the way up to here. So I may dig that out and do something with it. Haven't decided what I'm gonna do about these things. I like the kind of shape that I've got with this. I need to bring this down and I guess put a tenon on it, which, you know, hopefully this crack doesn't go very far up in there. That's gonna change things too, or I'd be filling with a lot of stuff. Don't you come apart on me. That's all I got to ask. Could you please not come apart? Come off the lathe or any of that business. wormhole. Whoa. Yeah, caught on some wormhole. Yeah, see, I'm worried because that was kind of a little crack too. If I keep going, then I'm going to catch this crack and she's going to come off the lathe. There's another little bark inclusion. Are you going to be strong enough to behave yourself? Are you going to come apart? Now, wonder what I should do about this situation. Because that could come across there. That definitely could come across there. Would really like to bring this down some more, but yeah, with that big old chunk coming off of there, I'm not so sure, because if it comes apart here, then she's coming off the lathe, pretty sure anyway. So how can I find my center back? I take this off and try to drill down a little bit. Dilemmas. See where I got the catch. Right there. Snapped it right off. Alright, so I am going to do, just not going to push it, because that crack goes right to that knot, and this I don't know how far it, it's attached probably over here, so I need to stop and think about things for a minute. What if I take little bitty bites? Little bitty ones? Tiny ones, just a little real easy at it, just to level this off a little bit, maybe. I'm gonna figure out how I'm gonna get rid of this, see if I can do some kind of grip on this. If not, I don't know. We'll figure out something. See if I can get this drilled down far enough. CA staining. I'm gonna have it, but I'd rather it stay together than, even if I gotta have a little bit of CA staining. Good morning, everyone. Let's start working on the center of this beast. This is a hot mess. I don't know how well you guys are going to be able to see that, but she's a broke. Can you guys see that movement? And of course I've got a crack all the way across the bottom, so I need to address that, which, let me bring that up here. So whenever you move it, see, and it's here and it's across there, so I have got to address that. And I think I'm going to address it from the inside. I hate putting things in these little bitty cracks out front, but I did save some of the sawdust from the little bit of sanding I did. I only sanded it 120 just to kind of see where I was at. I've still got some pretty good groove marks here, but I was hearing the funny sound, so I knew I needed to take the tool away and not do anymore for pieces and parts of this was going to fly. I'm going to put down some sanding sealer. You know, the only purpose for that is to help with the CA staining. So I'm just going to coat the inside with some sanding sealer, let it dry. Yeah, get out of that hole. I'm going to end up on my floor. So I have put a lot of CA glue on this. I didn't really want to have to fill all the cracks. I was trying to decide if I could leave them natural, but I am concerned with it coming apart whenever I go to cut my groove, and it still might. That's the reason I am going to go ahead and cut my groove next. Typically I would sand and get it all right and then cut into the groove, but because this has a lot of issues, I'd rather go ahead and cut the groove. That way if it's gonna fail, I won't have put all that time into the sanding. So I've made a couple of marks here where I believe I want the leather inlay to set. So I'm going to turn on the lathe and make get things lined up here. So I'm pretty sure I won't be able to see that. Yeah, my problem being is I've got a little wormhole that's gonna be right in the middle of one of those grooves. And alright, let me find my other mark. It's here somewhere. It's on this side. Where you at? You're right here. Really wanted to kind of go deeper, but I better not push my luck. Don't push your luck, lady. Alright, I'm going to move on to sanding. It's going to take a lot, so you guys can watch a little bit and then I'll bring you back. So I'm here at the laser engraver and I've got some double-sided tape. I'm going to try to line it up with these crosses here. This is just a scrap piece of board. Hoping I'm getting it lined up somewhat straight. That'll help me whenever I have to line up my piece of leather, is what I'm going to stick to this. All right. Cut this off. Oh gosh, I can't see very good. Okay. On one side, I've created a design, and let me zoom that in a little bit. So it's an apple tree with little apples in it, and a couple of apple baskets with a few little apples spilling out of it. The word family and an apple attached for the eye. This other will be a little harder. I don't think I can. It is I found this saying on the internet, and it was by Lucy Larcombe, and it says, if an apple blossom or a ripe apple could tell its own story, it would still be more than its own, the story of the sunshine that smiles upon it of the winds that whisper to it, of the birds that sang around it, of the storms that visit it, and the motherly tree that held it and fed it until its petals were unfolded. Oh, I have got a mistake. I think it's supposed to be unfolded, and its form developed. Typo, gotta fix. Okay, so you guys saw me laser engrave this belt and or this piece of leather along with this one. I think I showed both of those. This wasn't my first pick as far as color wise. This was my first pick, which I laser engraved. You can see that a little better. Let me put that up there. But this, the wording does not show up very good. This was the one I wanted to go with the bowl, and because I feel like the darker brown kind of plays well with the bark and some of the different hues. This, I don't know, for some reason reminds me of corkboard. It's maybe too close to the colors. So I just wasn't happy. And like I said, I had this, but you just can't see the wording. And I didn't want necessarily the wording to stand out a whole lot, but I needed it to be seen. So then I got, which wouldn't, like I say, be my first choice, but now I've got this piece. And I actually, I'm going to have to go with this piece because when I realized the other one wasn't going to work, I turned away a little more off camera. So I'm actually going to start out with a little bit of, I've got a mark whenever I was messing with it and measuring back some of the, so I could cut it down to the perfect length. I didn't figure you guys wanted to watch that. But I've got some double-sided tape that I use to hold it in place to see if it's going to work. And so I'm going to start out with a little piece of it right here so I can make sure I'm going to have it lined up exactly how I want it. And then we'll move on with the glues. So if I measured my mark right, I'm going to put it there. All right. And I'll get these guys pushed together nice and tight and then try to tuck them in. All right. So I'm going to use some medium CA glue. And we're going to start out with this side. I am going to leave that tape in place just to make sure it holds while I'm pulling it, just in case. trying not to get glue on the fingers on the way, so you don't accidentally touch something you don't want to touch with glue, like on the outside of it. Alright, pull that away. Part of the reason I'm using the medium is to kind of make sure that I have a little extra time to move it around in case I don't get it exactly right. Boy, that's setting up real fast for me. Oh, dang it. Okay. Glue on the fingers. So, let me see, how much do I need to take off of you? Just a smidge, just a smidge. Definitely got it pulled nice and tight. Alright. How am I going to cut you on here? Let me... The problem is I just don't know how well I can cut it in this position. I had it so nice and neatly cut. Make it fit. Okay, let me put just a little bit of glue there and see what happens. Get down there. Don't be messing with me now. Okay. There we go. So now, all we have to do is turn her around and take her bottom off. I had been thinking about doing the leather inlay with the engraving. Since I got my laser engraver from Creality, I thought that that could be kind of a cool little project. I had initially been looking at like a piece of ash or a little bit bigger piece of wood, but I just didn't have any of the lighter colors that was quite big enough. This one needed to be actually a little bit bigger with such a heavy band of leather on it. But this was the biggest piece that I had that was dry that I could turn, was my apple. And let me read it again. If an apple blossom or a ripe apple could tell its own story, it would be still more than its own. The story of the sunshine that smiled upon it, of the winds that whispered to it, of the birds that sang around it, of the storms that visited it, and the motherly tree that held it and fed it until its petals were unfolded and its form developed. Lucy Larcom is who wrote this little poem, and I just was looking up quotes about apples, and I had thought about like putting apple pie or something like that on that, but I was just like, no, I want something a little more. And this one really touched me. I really loved what it said. And then, of course, with it being an Applewood, and all that says to me on that is family, and how family helps develop their children. And it's not just mothers, it can be, all sorts of family members that can help in that. So that's the reason I decided to create a little apple tree with, it's hard to see, you can't see my little baskets that I put together and little apples spilling out of it, and the word family for the other side. So that was my thoughts behind it. Was, at first, like I said, it was more about apple leather, the fruit that you eat, and then I thought, no, I don't want to do that. So I decided to go with, like I said, looking up some things, and this is the one that touched me the most. So I tried to get the sides nice and straight. Let me pull her up here so you guys can look up here, because I knew it would be better for the inlay, especially as wide as I was going, to be nice and straight. Now, of course, all the cracks and all that mess, this one was all the way separated. I thought, well, this piece may not survive, and I may have to wait on my little leather poem that I had. I had thought about not proceeding on with the leather inlay with all the cracks and the CA staining, and I thought, this leather is holding this bowl together, kind of like family members, can hold things together. Getting a little deep here. Anyway, did get the bottom finished off, left the wormholes because, I'm just going to have the wormholes, which speaks to the trouble you go through in life sometimes, and that's just how things work out. But I think there's some beauty in all that. you know, the natural bark inclusions and wormholes and everything. So did have to fill the bottom with some CA and got it all sanded up. So anyway, that's enough of me rambling. Let me know what you guys think of this week's video, and I want to say thank you again to everyone for stopping by and watching my videos. It means the world to me, and things have been a little slow lately. I've had a few dudders for my videos, and I'm not sure. I'm hoping it's just because everybody's busy right now. Hoping not everybody ran away. Hope it didn't scare everybody away anyway. Anyway, so yeah, I want to say thank you. If you haven't subscribed, jump on down and subscribe and leave me a comment. That way you can be entered into the next giveaway that I have, which might be a while since things have slowed down. But if you subscribe and leave a comment, that'll get me there quicker. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button if you like the video, and share it with your friends and family. That'll help me grow and get to my next giveaway. If you are interested in any of the products that I use on my channel, jump on down to the descriptions. I have affiliate links. I get very small commissions for anything that's purchased through those links. Okay, that's about enough of all that. Again, thank you for stopping by. I'm going to put her in the picture box, and I want you guys to have a great day, and I will see you on the flip side.